Howdy, Mable. How's it going? You know, now that's a pretty fine idea. What do you think we should add in here? You know, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And while I'm at it, I've got me a mission that I got to complete. I've got to see if I can get me a 12-point whitetail buck with buckshot. Earn me some more GM dollars. So I think that'll work out real good. I think we shall hunt a Roosevelt elk and see if we can pick up that 12-point whitetail buck. All right. Well, I shall see you on the flip-flop. You have a good one, Mable. Howdy, pilgrims. How you doing? We are here at the Darkwood Lodge in Red Feather Falls for a trophy lodge hunt because our greeter bear Mable said that she'd like it very much if we could get us a Roosevelt elk to put up on the wall to complement that Rocky Mountain elk that we got in our last hunt. Now, it also just so happens that I've got a mission to collect a whitetail buck with at least 12 typical points using buckshot. And so this here is definitely the perfect spot to do such a hunt. Now, as you can see, I've got my Parker Python with me. I haven't had a lot of mothballs in a while, so we're definitely going to take our Parker Python. Let's look at what else we got going on here. We've got our pump 12 gauge with some buckshot and our slug scope. We've also got a box of slugs in case of close encounters. We've got our elk collar and elk juice with some backup juice over here. We've got our buck grunt call. We've got some whitetail juice. We have got our moose collar and some moose juice. And of course our scent suppressor and binoculars and all that good stuff. We've also got our Basanti pistol just in case we have a close encounter. But what we're going to do is we're going to get some face paint on. I'm probably about due for some more face paint here. I think we're starting to run kind of low. That's one of the reasons why I have got to complete some of these missions and get me some GM. Because pretty soon I'm going to need me some face paint. And I'm going to need some scent suppressor. And that's a good way to get it. Well, come on up there, you. There we go. So we're good to go. We already got our firearms all loaded up and ready to rock and roll. And it's time for us to go see if we can get Mable her Roosevelt elk. It is 6 a.m. here at the Darkwood Lodge. Let's get our scent suppressor on. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be headed right down to the southeast here to the bend in the road. Then we're going to continue on down to these triple ponds here. Then we're going to head west to Kidney Hill, this kidney-shaped hill here. I call it Kidney Hill. And then we'll be moving on to the deer stand right there. And if at that point we're still hunting, well, we'll figure out where we're going from there. But what we're going to do is just drop us a dot for the first step in our destination. Kablam right there. And let's hit a crouch. Let's get our bow up. Let's switch to our hunter mate. And let's roll on out of here. Now, in between here and the bend in the road, we could certainly encounter whitetail. We could encounter elk. We're just going to take our time and see what we see. Now, the last time that I was through here hunting, up on this end of things, I come across some Sasquatch tracks. I was just coming up over the hill here and we got an indicator of a noise for creature unknown. And then we did eventually find tracks. I followed him for a bit, but I never did get close to him. Right up there to the left, you see there's those two little hills up there. And those two little hills, a lot of times you'll encounter elk there because what they've done is they've come from the bend in the road and they come over the top of those hills. But I'm not seeing them this morning. And a lot of people don't care for the rain when they're hunting, but actually the rain is to our advantage because it reduces our noise. But we've got us a buck right off the bat. We're going to switch over to our binoculars because that way the circle on our hunter mate will stop fading. It'll stop where it was in its fade cycle, and it'll stay at that point in the fade cycle until we happen to go back. And with the rain coming down like this, our movement is totally covered up sound-wise. Our scent is heavily reduced. And so we're actually in pretty darn good shape here to sneak up on this fella. I'd sure be happy if we got that 12-point buck out of the way right off the bat. Now, I've seen lots of 6-point bucks up here and lots of 8-point bucks up here, but we need a buck with 12 typical points. Let's get back to our hunter mate, make sure we're moving in on the right line here. There we go. And he's not all that far on out there. It looks like the rain is mellowing out a little bit. But I'm hoping we can come across a real nice Roosevelt elk. He doesn't have to be no leaderboard elk. He doesn't have to be something particularly amazing. But it would be nice if he was a good elk. But I think that Mable will be happy to have any elk on the wall right now. There, he just called again. Boy, he's just right out there, huh? Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to go prone, and we're just going to crawl up to the top of this little mump in the land here. See if we can get eyes on him. I think we'll crawl up right up by this tree. And then we'll see what we got. If he's looking like he might be our animal, we'll take him with the buckshot. If it looks like he's probably not our animal, maybe we'll take him with the bow. Ah, there he is. Let's get a look at him. 1, 2, 3, 4. He is an 8-point buck. He is not a 12-point buck. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him a call. And we're going to come up with our bow and be ready to rock and roll. What is his range out there right now? He's behind that tree. He can't see us. That tree is at 20 meters. So basically, just as soon as he's willing to present himself, we should be able to take the shot. There we go. Hit him, and I think we hit him good. He's a good-looking buck, you know. I wouldn't mind taking him at all, but he's not the fellow we're after. That's for sure. Well, we're gonna, as always, give him just a moment to get the running out of his system, because the thing is they usually run till they leave render distance, and from the minute they leave render distance, they start contemplating going back to roaming. And so it's usually good to just stay right where you are, because then they leave a render distance sooner. Whereas if we light out after him, well, we're following along behind him. He could travel farther before he stops running. So we're just going to hold tight. All right, let's slip on up there and take a look at what we got for blood. I think I hit him good. I'm not using any tracer arrows, so it's a little tougher to tell, but we had a pretty solid bead on him. Oh yeah, heart and lungs. I don't think this fella's long for the world. I think we may have him right up here. Well, he's not the one we needed, but I'm not going to complain, that's for sure. Yep, took him along the length of one lung completely. And that's what I kind of figured. I did hit him a little high though. I didn't wait for my range indicator because he was inside 20 meters, and I did hit him a little high. And it just keeps jumping back in without me doing anything. There we go. We're not gonna taxidermy that feller. A lot of good memories hunting here in Red Feather Falls. You know, I did all the elk missions and hunted every single one of those elk missions here in Red Feather Falls. So at that time, which was quite some time back, I spent so much time here. At that time, we didn't have Timber Gold trails, we didn't have the Outback map, we didn't have White Rime. One, two, three, four, five, six. He's our guy. He is our guy. So we're going to go prone. We're going to give a call. Hit that scent. We're going to give a call. We're going to pull him in and take him. We're just going to ease over a tiny bit so we can see him a little bit better as he comes in. I'm hoping he comes in anyway. He didn't seem all that particularly hell-bent on going someplace else. He was just kind of wandering. He may just creep up a little bit here. I'd like to get clear of those bushes that are just ahead of us on the left if I can. Take her nice and easy. Yeah, so far there's no sign of him. Maybe he decided to keep going. But if I counted correctly, he will fulfill our mission and we can get back to hunting in a way we like. But by moving up like this, it also ensures that if we get a doe moseying up, we shouldn't have to worry. I don't know, I think he might decide to keep on going. We're going to give it just a moment more, because sometimes they'll turn around, they'll come back a ways, and they'll pause and sniff, trying to decide if it's safe or not. So he could be right out there just a short distance out trying to make up his mind. In fact, there he is. He's right there. We're going to get him, let him get fairly close. Because this buckshot is not terribly reliable at distance. Here we go. And in theory, that should satisfy our mission. Let's go get a look at this fella. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do believe that's going to do it. And he is a 121. Now, you'd sure think that with amazing horns like that, he'd score higher, but there we go. Mission Big Rack up close completed. All right, I think we got about as good as we're going to get for the shot I'm after here. Was hoping for something a little better than that, but we're going to go for that. And we are going to taxidermy this guy. Put a decent whitetail head up on the wall. He's a 12-point buck. Any real-life deer hunter will tell you getting a 12-pointer is nothing to sneeze at. And we still need us a Roosevelt Elk. But we're going to make a couple of changes here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to fast travel back to camp. And we're, oh, there's our fella right there. As a matter of fact, where is he? He's back. He's up at that stand over there. All right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of this god-awful thing. I know there's lots of people who swear by buckshot, but you know what buckshot's good for? Shooting people who are trying to do a home invasion robbery. That's what buckshot's good for. Number 10 buck, it doesn't go through the walls. Double-aught buck will, number 10 buck will not. We're going to switch over to our trusty rusty 30-06. We're going to check our scent suppression. We got 20 minutes. We are solid. And we're going to head up to that stand and hope that we can get us a nice Roosevelt Elk for the wall. Because getting that 12-point buck for the mission that we're doing, that's dandy. I'm glad to have that mission out of the way. That's enough EM to make sure I can pick up a little scent suppressor and some more face paint and stuff. Or GM, I should say, but we promised Mable the Greeter Bear that we would get a Roosevelt Elk to put on the wall. And by golly, you should not go about breaking your word, especially not to grizzly bears. All right, well, he called from right up over here. Oh, there we go. Let's get a look at him. He's all by his lonesome down there, and he is a good-looking fella. He's no champion elk. He's certainly not a leaderboard elk like that other fellow we took, but he's a good-looking elk, and I think that he will certainly be a good first Roosevelt Elk to put up on the wall. So let's take him. Let's go collect him up and go give Mable good news. He's a respectable elk. He's no monarch of the forest, but I think he's a good first Roosevelt Elk to get up on the wall. There will be more, and we'll just keep trading them out till we get the biggest one we can get. He's respectable. Yeah, he's a 197 with that heart-lung shot. Let's do the trophy. And this shows he's not the biggest elk there ever was. We're just going to snap that picture quick. And we are going to taxidermy him just because we want one for the wall. First thing is making Mable happy. Once we've made Mable happy, we can go out and we can see if we can find a monarch of the forest. But I think it's time for us to head back to the lodge, get this feller up on the wall, let Mable know we have succeeded with our whitetail hunt. So I will see you guys there. Alrighty, Mabel. Well, there he is. We got us a Roosevelt elk to put on the wall and get a little bit of symmetry relative to our Rocky Mountain elk. Well, yeah, I know he's not that big. We'll get a bigger one. I'm in a competition. I'm going to keep trying for them bigger elk. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this whitetail, actually. He's a nice 12-point buck and no non-typical tines on him. I think he's a good-looking fella. But I think what we definitely need to do is we need to see if we can get us a much bigger elk for the wall there. That's for sure. And I got a competition. I'm going to give it a good try. But got to say, I agree with you. He's not the biggest one there ever was. But it was a fun hunt. We had a lot of fun and had some good conversation with our fellow Squatchlings. And by golly, I think I'm going to get on out there and see if I can get us a bigger Roosevelt elk. So I'm going to get going. But I at least got you started, all right? All right. Well, I'm going to head out, guys. I think I'm going to go see about another bigger Roosevelt elk, see if I can get a entry in this competition here. That's position 11, so there's got to be some big ones out there that do better than that. But in the meantime, remember what Mable the Greeter Bear and her boyfriend Gil always say: if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly.